Hello everybody, my name is Kyle9, welcome back to another video. Today in this one it's going to be another Duel Links video, and in this one it's going to be my deck profile and replays on the Shinobird deck. That's still kind of insane, to be honest with you. So this is one of those decks I thought was going to fall off with the new box with Branded and Drytron and Trap Trick and all that stuff being in the new box. I thought this deck was going to somewhat fall off, but it didn't. This deck is just still crazy insane. And a lot of people, like in the last video, with the Drytron video I made, a lot of people actually liked that type of video I did. And even a person in the comments down below asked me if I did a Shinobird deck profile with this yet. And that's what I'm going to be doing today, because not only is this deck insane, I've been somewhat addicted to it as well. I've been playing a lot of this deck as of recently, but to be fair, I've been addicted to Duel Links for like the past 2 weeks because the TCG refuses to drop the goddamn ban list, but that's fine. I get to play Duel Links, and I've been having so much fun playing Duel Links. So without further ado, though, let's actually get into the deck profile proper. So we're going to start off with the skill, and that's the reason why this deck's crazy. It's because of the skill. The skill is absolutely ridiculous. So it makes it where you cannot normal summon or special summon effect monsters except for spirit monsters. But you get to normal summon twice per turn, which is very, very insane, because not only do you get to summon twice per turn, there are spirit monsters in the deck that make it where you get an extra normal summon. So there's up to, like in some games, you get to normal summon 4 times a turn, which is absolutely ridiculous. But that is excluding the extra deck. So you can still summon it from the extra deck if you want to, which is still insane. The second effect here is you can reveal up to 2 spirit monsters or ritual spell cards from your hand and then shuffle 1 card from your hand into the deck. Then for the number of revealed cards this way, you get to add spirit monsters or spell traps that mention spirit monsters from your deck to your hand. And then 3 is if your opponent, if only your opponent controls a monster, you can play a Shinobird, King of Higher Plane, from outside your deck in face-down defense position, but its battle position can be changed. And then number 4 is if you control a Shinobird, King of Higher Plane, you get to add a Change of Heart. So this skill is just fucking insane. So the second effect here basically makes it where you get to fix your hand and make it where you can actually play, which is insane. And then the third and fourth effect makes it where you can just like board break. So that's kind of the idea with the deck, is if you want to board break with this deck. This deck is probably the best deck to break fields. There's so many fields that you can encounter into the game, and I think Shinobird can pretty much break all of them, which is very, very insane, especially since you get to, not only get Shinobird, King of Higher Plane, which is just a 3300 asshole, but you get to search Change a Heart if they allow this card to stick on field, which makes it where you can start taking their monsters and break their field. So that's kind of the idea with the deck, is that going second, you just break their field. Like, not only does the skill do that by getting a Change of Heart, the ritual monsters, Baron and Baroness, helps you break monsters and bounce back monsters and spell traps respectively, which is very insane. And then you pretty much use your extra deck as a toolbox. So you play the nightmare cards to help you break the field. You have Tornado Dragon here. You have Exciton Knight. You just pretty much use your extra deck as a toolbox to help you break the field. So that's very, very insane. And then going first, its idea is to try to set up on the trap card in graveyard, which a ritual spell and Baron and Baroness. So that's like an interaction piece right there, because the trap card lets you ritual summon from the graveyard, and then have like non-engine, in this case Droplet and Book of Eclipse kind of set. So that's kind of the idea going first. It's one of those decks you want to go second with, but going first you still have somewhat of a game plan to go with it. Even though it's probably a little bit worse off going first than it is going second, you still have an up game plan going first. So without further ado, though, let's actually get to the card by card, shall we? So we are playing 2 Shinobird or Shinobaron Peacock, and then 1 Shino Baroness. So I think this is the ideal ratio. You want to play 2 of him, 1 of her. Now, if you don't have a second Baron, let's say you don't have Noah Kaiba at level 30 yet, you can get away with 2 Baroness, 1 Baron, and still play this deck. A lot of the time in ladder, I was doing that. You can still do that if you want to. But if you do have 2 Baron, play 2 Baron, 1 Baroness. Baron is, if this card is ritual summon, you get to bounce back 3 monsters your opponent controls back to the hand. That is non-targeting, by the way. Very, very, very dumb. And then you can spell summon a level 4 or lower spirit monster from your hand, ignoring its summoning conditions. And then during the end phase, if this card was supposed to summon, you return it to the hand and then summon 2 Shinobird tokens. And then Baroness is pretty much just the spell trap. So when this card is ritual summon, you get to shuffle back 3 spell traps your opponent controls back into the deck, non-targeting, which is crazy. And then you get to special summon a level 4 or lower spirit monster from the deck, which is absolutely crazy to think about as well. And then it has the same bottom effect. If you go special summon, you get to return it back to hand and then summon 2 Shinobird tokens. That though the bottom effects are mandatory, by the way, so that you can't opt out of those. So it's still a very insane card. So you want to play 2 of him, 1 of her is the ideal way. But if you have 2 of her, 1 of him, that still works as well. You only need 1 Shinobird Shade Peacock because this is a card that you want to keep in deck, because you only ritual summon this guy off of the field spell, and the field spell can only ritual summon from deck. So you only want to play 1 of this guy, which is perfectly fine. So if you end up hard drawing this, you just put it back with the skill and be perfectly fine with that. You don't need more of this guy. This guy is perfectly fine to be at 1. So yeah, we're only going to keep it at 1. If you don't know what he does, he gets to tribute himself on field, add a spirit monster and a ritual spell from deck to your hand. You can only use this effect once per turn. And then during the standby, if he was banished, he gets to special himself back to the field. And then during the end phase, if the card was special summoned, he gets to bounce himself back to the hand. Again, mandatory effect. You do not get a choice on that. You do have to return this card back to him. Sorry about that. Oh my god. Cool. Sorry about that. I apologize about that. Okay. Now onto the actual spirit monsters here. We have 1 Sakitama. I am only playing 1. This is one of those cards you can probably get away with 2 as well. Like, this card is really, really good, and it's fine because it is a spirit monster. So you get to still reveal it for the skill and stuff like that. But you only necessarily need 1 of this card. This card is searchable through so many ways in the deck, so you only necessarily need 1. But if you want to play 2, you can play 2 if you want to. This card's insane. This card makes it where you can reveal this card in your hand, and you just normal summon a spirit monster from your hand, which is ridiculous, and that's why you get more normal summons in the deck. And then if this card is tributed, you get to target a spirit monster in the graveyard, add it back to hand, which is absolutely insane as well. You have Yugioh. Yugioh is in here for going second purposes. If this card is normal summon, you get to target a spell trap your opponent controls and then return it back to the hand, which is insane. So it just kind of just helps you board break. Obviously, turn 1, this doesn't do anything, but you want to keep this in the deck because it is searchable through a lot of things in the deck. So you want to keep at least 1 of him in the deck to help you go second. We are playing 3 Aratama, sorry. If this card is normal summon, you can just add 1 spirit monster from your deck to your hand, which is insane. So like, you do want to play 3 of this card. This card helps you just search anything in the deck, so you do want to play 3. We are on 3 Nikitama, which is, if this card is normal summon, you just gain an additional normal summon, which is very insane. And then if this card is sent to the graveyard, you get to draw a card as long as there is a spirit monster on the field. So that's why I said, even though the skill gives you 2 normal summons, thanks to things like Sakitama and Nikitama, you pretty much get 4 normal summons in this deck, which is absolutely ridiculous, to be honest with you. So you do want to play 3 Nikitama as well. It's still like a really, really good card. And then we are on 1 Shinobird Crane. You do need to play at least 1 of this guy. Its top effect here, if another spirit monster is normal or special summon while this card is on the field, you get to draw a card. But the main reason why we're playing this is because it has during the end phase, it returns itself back to hand. That matters because the field spell needs to see wind spirit monsters return back to hand, and Crane is a wind spirit monster, while like the rest of the spirits that we're playing are not wind monsters, right? Except for the rituals, but obviously for the effect spirit monsters, they're all like darks and lights, and Yugioh is a water. Shinobird Crane is a wind, so that helps you trigger this field spell during your turn 1. So that's it for the monsters. We're on 3 Shinobird Calling as well. If you have like pre-preparation of rights, you probably could play that as well. I just don't have pre-prep, so to be honest with you, so I've been getting away with just playing just 3 Calling, but this is perfectly fine. I think you do need to play 3 of this because you want to have this in your hand, because if you're going first, the trap kind of wants to send it to the graveyard, so you want to have at least 1. And then going second, just having this in hand, being able to not search it and just have like just need to search one of the ritual monsters is still fine. We're playing 1 Starlight Above the Shrine. You only need 1 because it is searchable through the skill, so you only necessarily need 1 of this card. This card's effect is once per turn, you can ritual summon 1 wind ritual monster from your deck by trading spirit monsters and or Shinobird tokens from your field whose total levels equal or exceed the ritual monster. So pretty much you get to summon any of the ritual monsters from deck. Now the downside is you can only use monsters on field for the ritual summon, so you can't use monsters in hand. But that's still fine with you, because like that's why I said like you want the shade back in the deck at all times, because you always seem to ritual summon it off of this guy, which is perfectly fine. But like going second, obviously you can also ritual summon these guys from the deck as well, which is really, really good. So also its bottom effect here, twice per turn, if a face-up wind monster you control is returned to the hand. You can activate one of these effects, either add one of your spirit monsters or ritual spells that is banished or in your graveyard back to your hand, or set one Stars Align across the Milky Way. So, this is what you're trying to do going first. So pretty much going first, you want to have like one of the ritual monsters, either Peacock or either Baroness or Baron, and then a Shinobird Crane set, right? With obviously a Calling in hand as well. So during the end phase, you go Calling, return itself back to hand. Field spell triggers, set the trap card, and then during your opponent's turn, if you don't know what this trap card does, you get to reveal a ritual monster in your hand, add a ritual monster with the same level but different name from your deck to your hand. So during your opponent's turn, you can go Milky Way, reveal a Baroness, search Baron, and then this card gets sent to the graveyard. In the graveyard, you can banish this card from your graveyard, and then send a ritual spell from your hand to the graveyard. This effect becomes that card effect's ritual summon, which is very insane. So if you have Calling, you just send Calling and then ritual summon, which is very insane because now you have an interruption piece, right? Because you should have both Baron and Baroness with Calling and then a trap card in graveyard, and now that's just an interruption that your opponent always has to play around, which is very unfortunate for them. So very, very good card. Yeah, you do want to play at least 1 and 1. This is what you're trying to do going first. So yeah, pretty much you do. This is like mainstay of the deck. You do have to play this card, but that's why the field spell is very, very important, especially going first to get to, is because this is what you're trying to do going first. So you need to make sure you have your interruption during your opponent's turn. And then for non-engine, I'm on 3 Droplet, 3 Book of Eclipse. Like, this can be something else. If you have Droll and Lockbird, play Droll and Lockbird. I think Droll is probably a really, really good card right now, because it's Droll, and there's still FTKs for some reason in Duel Links. Duel Links still haven't figured out how to stop FTKs yet, so just being able to Droll an FTK deck is insane. So if you have Droll, you probably should play Droll, but I don't have that card, so I'm just playing Droplet and Book of Eclipse as well. This is also a 24 card list as well. There's a lot of lists that just bump it to 30, and that's perfectly fine with me, but I've had success just playing a 24 card list, to be honest with you, so I'm just keeping it at 24 cards. Other cards you can play, Shinobird Salvation is just a really, really good, like, continuous trap card you can play. It's searchable through the skill, which matters a lot as well. If you don't know what this card does, if it face-up spirit monster you control is returned to your hand while this card is face-up on the field. You get to target one card your opponent controls and destroy it, and then when your opponent declares an attack, you can banish one spirit monster from your graveyard, negate the attack, then end the battle phase. So pretty much, again, this helps you try to go first, because that's kind of somewhat of the problem with the deck, is going first. Obviously, going second, it's broken, but going first, you know, you have to somewhat manage your resources correctly, so having Salvation to make sure you can try to survive a turn is still really, really good. Now, the reason why I'm not playing it is because things like, you know, Phoenix, Tornado Dragon, stuff like that are in the game, so it's actually not that hard to out back row in the game right now, and this has to stay on field for that to matter. So that's why I don't like this card, because I think there's a lot of way to out back row right now, so I just don't like playing cards that have to stay on field to resolve its effect, so that's why I'm not playing that. But another card you can play is Hollow Life Barrier as well. This card I think is really insane. Now, it's not searchable, but if you do draw this card, it makes going first so much easier. So if you don't know what this card does, you can discard one card, you take no damage from your opponent's cards this turn, also your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. So it makes it where you pretty much survive turn 1. You just set this card, activate it, and you're just never going to die on that turn, right? Especially if, like, FTKs can't FTK you because they can't deal damage to you, right? They can't kill you in battle because you take no, your monsters can't be destroyed by battle, but you also just don't take any battle damage either off of this. But this card's fucking insane. This makes it where you just don't die that turn. You get to a turn 3 and then you just break their field and OTK them. So this is another card I've seen people play as well, and I think it's really, really good. I only own 1 copy of it, unfortunately, so that's why I'm not playing it. If I had 2, I'd maybe consider playing it, but I only have the 1 copy. But this is another card you could be playing as well. And then for the extra deck, it's just toolboxy stuff, like we're playing Dugaras to, like, turn 1 to help deep draw into, like, non-engine, right? Tornado Dragon just helps going second. Dweller, if you know the matchup really well, against certain matchups, Dweller go hard. I feel like you versus the mirror match, like being able to Dweller them while they have the trap in graveyard to force out the trap card is really, really nice. Exciton, obviously, for going second. I'm also playing Magnificent Sin. Is this card necessary? Probably not, but again, it's just a toolbox extra deck to help you trying to break field, so that's why it's here. We're on all the Nightmare cards, Phoenix, Unicorn, and Cerberus, because they're all just insane going second. And then we're playing the 1 IP to help us. Like, if you want to make it turn 1, we can as well. So that's it for the deck profile there. Now, a couple things I do want to say before getting into the replays. I do have seen 2 problems with this deck. Number 1, Well, I guess 3 technically. Going first is probably its weakest point, but like still, there's so many ways to interact going first where it's actually not that much of a problem. But like going first, you can argue like obviously it wants to go second more than it wants to go first, but you know you can still do things going first. So even though going first is somewhat of a problem, you can manage it pretty well anyway. So it's not that much of a problem. But the 2 main problems is Droll and Nibiru. Again, one of those things that, again, going first, those cards matter way more than going second, because going second, you can kind of somewhat play around Droll and Nibiru, while going first, it's a lot harder to play around those cards, especially Droll and Lockbird going first when you're trying to set up your combo plays. If they do Droll you and you just don't have the right hand, it could just screw you over. So that's one of those things you do want to kind of play around. Now, it always is hand dependent on what's in your hand to help you play around Droll. But Droll is one of those problems with the deck. But I think the more and more you get familiar with the deck, the easier and easier it gets to kind of play around Droll. But Droll is still somewhat of a problem for this deck, so just keep in mind of that. And Nibiru going second does not matter whatsoever. But Nibiru going first, when you're going first, is somewhat of a problem because you do need your wind monsters to return back to hand just so you can trigger the field spell to set the trap cards, right? So if they Nibiru you and that you can't return these wind monsters, it does become somewhat of a problem, right? So you just need to make sure you play around Nibiru kind of correctly. Again, very hand dependent going first. Depends on what kind of hand you have to kind of play around Nibiru or not, but Nibiru is still somewhat of a problem. But that is enough of me talking finally. Now let's get into the replay, shall we? Alrighty, now on to the first replay here. So this is us going first. We end up versing against the branded deck, which is very popular right now as well. So this is kind of what I want to show you how I kind of play going first. So I will start with one thing. I do kind of play conservative when I go first. As let me just, whenever I get to pause the fucking duel. Okay. So I do kind of play conservative going first. Now, there are ways you can set up like on an IP and or either like Dweller IP. You kind of set up on like a decent end field, but the problem with that is it kind of plays into the Nibiru and the Droll and Lockbirds and stuff like that, right? So that's kind of the problem with playing it like that. So I play a little bit more conservative, trying to play around those hand traps. So here with this starting hand, I kind of want to play around the Droll and Lockbird, right? So I reveal the Aratama and the Shinobird. I shuffle back Shinobird, add a Nikitama and the field spell here. And then I'll go ahead and normal summon Aratama effect, add back the Peacock or the Baron here. Because if they Droll me here, I can go field spell, special out the Shade by triggering the Aratama, go to end phase, add back the Shade to hand, and then since a wind monster was returned to hand, the trap or the field spell would set the trap, and we have the Peacock already in hand with the ritual spell. So we kind of played around Droll that way. So that's kind of how I played around it. But obviously he didn't have Droll here, so I was like, okay, I can kind of do my thing now. I go normal summon Nikitama effect to give me an extra normal. I go field spell effect, tributing the Nikitama to summon out the Shinobird Shade. And then I go Nikitama effect since there was a spirit to draw a card. I go Peacock, or the Shade Peacock effect to add a Crane and another calling to hand here. And obviously we drew Baroness, which was kind of an unfortunate draw, but it's still fine. We normal summon out the Shinobird Crane. We set the Book of Eclipse. During the end phase, we'll go Crane effect, bounce itself back to hand here, and then that will trigger the field spell. Field spell effect will then get the trap, and then we'll go Aratama effect to add itself back to hand there. So even though, as you can see, no monsters on field, again, I like to play a little bit conservative. And also playing it like this way, where you end on nothing, makes it where there's a lot of skills that get better going second when you control a monster. But since I don't control a monster, they can't get that additional effect, right? So that's kind of how I play my Shinobird deck there. So just kind of keep in mind, you could do a little bit more combo if you want to, but I'm just playing a little bit conservative here. So in the draw phase, we do the trap card here. We reveal, I think we reveal the Baron, or the Baroness, to add the other Baron from deck here. And then now he does his branded stuff. So now I'm just like, you kind of play it where you just go, now you just have to kill me. If you threaten OTK, I'll start using my interactions. But if you never threaten an OTK, I just won't use anything against you. That's kind of how I play going first. It's like, okay, if you're going to kill me, I'll use my interactions then. But if you're not going to kill me, cool, whatever. I just won't use my interaction. So he's just doing his branded play. Here goes branded opening. Summon strategy, go Aluber effect, search for a branded in red. Goes ahead and does Branded in red effect, adding back the Dramaturge, going all 3 into the first Dark Lord there, and then goes Despia effect, Tragedy Chainlink 2 as well. Tragedy will get a Comedy to hand here, and then the Drogma will summon itself back, go into Despia Theater of the Branded, activate the effect to summon out Quarteris, or Quaddalus, however the fuck you pronounce its name here. But as you can see, he goes to battle phase. I just take the 25. The first Dark Lord can't attack directly because of Brandon and Red's effect here. It just makes it where you can't attack directly this turn. So I'm like, I'm not dead. I'm not going to waste any of my interactions against you. I don't care about that. So yeah, I'll just take the 25. I'll pass on. And he just passes. I'm like, okay, you didn't kill me. Now I'll just break your field. We'll go into a Shinato, activate Calling, go ahead and summon out the Shino Baron Peacock to try to bounce back everything. He goes to Baron effect. He chains Valor to it to attempt to negate it, but since we save the trap card, we can actually chain the trap card here, discard the other Calling that we had in hand, tribute the Baron on field, and summon out the Baroness here. Valor no longer resolves, so we can bounce back his monsters, and then Baroness effect can bounce back Theater. I'm like, okay, now it's just lethal. 33, 25. I have like so many ways to keep playing as well, but this is just lethal here. I end up doing the skill to search Change of Heart just in case, but again, doesn't necessarily matter. He just ends up conceding there because I do have lethal on field there. So that's kind of how I play my turn with this deck. I kind of play a little bit conservative turn 1, you know, make sure I play around Droll and Nibiru as much as possible, and then obviously if they never threaten OTK, I just won't waste any interactions against you. But if you do threaten OTK, that's when I'll start threatening or start doing my interactions with the trap card and graveyard and stuff like that. And then once they pass back to you, you just fucking OTK them because this deck's crazy fucking breaking field. So yeah, that was it for this replay. Let's get into the next one. Alrighty, now on to the next replay here. So this one we are actually going to be going second. We're versing the same deck. This ends up being branded once again, which again, like I said, it's a very popular deck on ladder right now. But this time we are going second, and I wanted to show you the power of going second here. So we draw our turn, and our hand is like, okay, obviously we don't want to draw Shade Peacock, but it's fine because we can just always shuffle it back off the skill. And we have Calling, which is okay, but like the Book of Eclipse and Droplet, very insane, especially going second, which is why I love these cards going second. So he does his play here. He goes the skill, puts back Tragedy, gets a branded opening, or I guess he reveals and then returns a card back. It doesn't have to be that. Gets an opening in the Despian Theater. We go ahead and go branded opening. Opening effect, discarding Tragedy, get a Loober 1, Tragedy 2. Go ahead and get our Dragma, and then we'll get a Branded Fusion off the Aluber here. And then we'll go ahead and just activate that Branded Fusion effect to go ahead and summon out Albion. Then we'll go Albion effect to fusion summon, banishing the Fallen and the Dragma, the Dramaturge, sorry. We go Lubellion effect, Chainlink 1, Dramaturge, Chainlink 2. Go ahead and summon itself back to the field, and then summon out a Mirror Jade. And then we'll go ahead and do Despia Theater with a Branded to go ahead and summon out a Masquerade. And then we go to end phase, we'll set the one card that we have in hand, but during the end phase, Albion effect will go trigger and set a Branded in red. Now, this looks like a fierce field, but it's a very breakable field. How I play this deck, I'm like, well, okay, what's the most threatening thing right now? And that right now is the Masquerade, because that prevents us, we'll inflict damage every time we do something, right? So we just got to out the Masquerade. But obviously, that's crazy that this deck can go look at this field and go, yeah, Masquerade's the problem here. Everything else I can beat is just not the Masquerade, right? So obviously, we have the easiest out in the world, and it's called Book of Eclipse. We draw into Aratama, which is absolutely crazy that we drew into Aratama as a turn. So we go Book of Eclipse, get rid of everything. We take 600, but we're like, okay, now we don't have to worry about the field. We'll go the skill to go ahead and do the Judgment, or get the guy, Shinato. We'll flip him face up. This will force out the Branded in red here. Add back Tragedy, and then go ahead and fuse off the Tragedy and the guy into a Dragostapelia, and then I'm like, okay, I don't care about that. Tragedy will get a Comedy here, which I'm like, okay, doesn't matter. We'll just do the effect to go ahead and get a Change of Heart here, activate the Change of Heart, and go ahead and take his Dragostapelia. He changed it to play a counter on Shinato, which doesn't matter, because we're just going to take his Dragostapelia. We'll link both off into a Nightmare Phoenix here. Nightmare Phoenix effect will now force out that last back row. We discard the Droplet, because I'm like, okay, I don't think we really need Droplet after this. So we'll destroy the back row, and now we'll just start doing our skill, because he has no more interaction here. We knew, what is it called? Tragedy? It's not Tragedy. No, it is Tragedy. No. Comedy. Comedy is the one that's in hand right now. So I'm like, cool, he has no interactions in the graveyard. Like, he has maybe Retribution to add back, which I don't care about. I'm like, cool, everything else doesn't matter. We can play around the field spell pretty well anyways. So now we just win the game. We just got to out the back row. We go to skill, add Nikitama and the field spell. Normal summon Nikitama effect to go ahead and get out the Aratama. Aratama effect will go ahead and search for Yaksha. We'll go ahead and activate the field spell. Field spell effect tributing the Nikitama to go ahead and summon out the Shade Peacock here, and then go Nikitama to draw a card. We draw into the trap, which is perfectly fine. We don't necessarily matter. Do the Shade Peacock effect, add back Baron and the field or the ritual spell. We go Yugioh, put back the field spell to hand, and then we'll go calling effect, banishing to go ahead and summon out the Baron to the field here, or the Baron. Baron effect, bounce back the other two monsters back into the hand, and well, Dragon will go to hand, and the other one will go to the extra deck. And now this is just OTK. We don't have to worry about anything else. I make a Dweller just in case he has something to negate the attack, but he doesn't. We'll just go battle here. He goes Retribution, add back Brandon to red. Again, does not matter. This is a threat in the OTK right here, and we end up winning the game there. So that's the power of it going second. Even without the Book of Eclipse, I think we can still probably break that field. But having the Book of Eclipse and then having everything else on top of it made it just super easy just to break the field. So that's what it's trying to do going second, just break. Literally, the guy had literally everything. We just broke everything and OTK'd him through it. So that is it for this replay. Now let's get into the next one. Alrighty, now on to the next replay here. So we end up versing against Dragon Link, Rocket, whatever you like to call it. I like to call it Dragon Link just because that's how we call it in the TCG. So we end up going second here. Again, this is just going to show the power of what this deck can do going second. So obviously I'm not playing any hand trap, so he will go full combo here. The hand's a little rough. Obviously you don't want to draw the trap in the starting hand, but the rest of this hand is actually pretty solid. So we can always just shuffle the trap back through the skill anyway, so that doesn't necessarily matter. So he's doing his Dragon Link combo, reveals Rocket Synchron to add Apsa Router and Quick Launch to the hand here, which is perfectly fine with us. We'll go activate the Quick Launch, summon out the Tracer, and then go ahead and special summon out the Apsa Router Dragon, go into a Boot Sector launch, activate another Quick Launch, chain Tracer targeting itself, no, targeting the Apsa Router, and then we'll go ahead and summon out Magna Ragnarok Dragon off Tracer, and then the Recharger off of Tracer's effect, off of Quick Launch, Apsa Router will go ahead and search for another Tracer here, go into a Striker Dragon, adding another Boot Sector, which you're playing two. I don't know if that's really correct, but whatever. I don't know Duel Links enough. Maybe that is correct. He goes into a Quad Boral Dragon, goes ahead, activates Tuning to go ahead and search for a Rocket Synchron that we already know he has in hand, I think. He sends a Red Eyes Metal Dragon to the grave, goes into a Link 4 here, a Borolo Dragon, and then go the skill here to go ahead and summon out Silver Rocket Dragon. We'll go Chain Link 1, a Borolo targeting the Silver Rocket, and then Silver Rocket Chain Link 2. We'll rip a card from the extra deck. Doesn't matter for this deck. He rips a Unicorn. That doesn't matter. We don't really necessarily need our extra deck in this deck here. He goes ahead and normal summons Rocket Synchron to go ahead and summon out Apso, and then this will go into a Borolo Savage Dragon for the Omni Negate, placing the Quad Boral on it, and then we'll go Silver Rocket effect during the end phase to summon out this guy, which ends up being like a negate a guy, so that is something we do have to play around, and then Tracer or Quick Launch will pop the Recharger here. So we're playing against an Omni Negate, a technical asshole Link monster, but we can out it, and then this is an Omni Negate that prevents our opponent's monster from attacking as well if it gets targeted by a Link monster, which Borolo Dragon can do there. So not that much interruption. We can pretty much play through this pretty well. We draw a Droplet for turn. We go and do the skill, put the Shinato onto the field, and then we'll go ahead and normal summon Yugioh. Yugioh force out the back row. So Borolo Savage loses the counter. I'm an idiot. I forgot it retains the counter. It just loses the attack. So I'm playing like the Omni Negate is gone. It's not. Just don't think like that. The counters are still there. It still has the Omni Negate. So I'm just playing like an idiot. Just don't play like me. Now we go flip up the Shinato. Then go Shinato to go ahead and add the Change of Heart to hand here. Then we do the first effect of the skill here. We'll put back. Did I put back Droplet? Damn, that was a misplay. Shouldn't have put back Droplet. But I add Aratama and then add the field spell to hand. And then go ahead and normal summon Aratama effect to go ahead and get the Peacock, or the Baron. Sorry. We'll go field spell effect to go ahead, tribute the Aratama, and summon out the Shade Peacock here. And then Shade Peacock effect will add a Sakitama and another Calling to hand. We'll go Sakitama effect to summon on Nikitama. Nikitama effect to get something extra normal summon. Go into the Magnificent Sin. This will force out the Borolo Dragon, targeting the this guy. And then this guy effect will negate the number 70. And then I can't activate the effects either. Or its effects are negated, so that doesn't matter. Now I go into the Calling effect, banishing both to go ahead and summon out Baron. And then this is where I make the misplay of effect to try to bounce everything to the field. He chains Savage to negate. I forget it retains the Omni, but we're still fine because guess what? We have Change of Heart, so we can just go Change of Heart, take the Savage Dragon, and then just go to battle phase. If he ever tries to do this effect, we have Savage to negate it. right? If that's what I'm not mistaken. The start of damage if this card attacks. Oh, if that card attacks, never mind. It won't even trigger anyways. But I just change the heart of this guy, and then this is just lethal here because Shinato being a 3300 asshole is kind of annoying. So this ends up being lethal there. So a little bit of a misplay for me, but like we still played through pretty much everything pretty well, and we had like a lot of things we can keep doing if we wanted to. We can go into like a Cerberus and all that stuff if we wanted to. So yeah, that was it for that replay. Now let's get into the next replay. Alrighty, so this next replay we're going to be versing against Chimera, which is a very interesting deck. So let me just skip everything here. We do end up winning the die roll here, so we are going first. Again, much rather we want to go second with this list, but it's fine going first. You still have game plans against this. Hand's a little rough, but at least we have the skill. We have Droplet and Book of Eclipse to go on top of everything, which is pretty nice, but obviously you don't want to see these cards going first. So we activate the skill. We reveal both of our spirits in hand. We'll shuffle back the Shade Peacock. Always do that for this, especially if you're going first, because you don't want that card in hand. We'll add the field spell and then add our Automa to hand. So we can't really play around Droll, so if he has Droll, it's just going to be kind of unfortunate, to be honest with you, but that's just kind of how it goes when you are going first. So we'll also summon our Automa effect to add Shinobird Crane, and then we'll go ahead and activate the field spell effect, tribute our Automa to go ahead and summon out Shade Peacock. Shade Peacock effect, tribute itself, adding Baron and Calling to hand here. We'll just go ahead and normal summon the Crane here, set our Droplet, set our Book of Eclipse, and then just proceed to go to end phase. Again, I like to play conservative, so, you know, you can probably get to like an IP or a Dweller if you want to, but since I like to play conservative and try to play around Nibiru as well, I'm just like, I'll just go to end phase, Crane effect, bounce itself back to hand, and then field spell to place the trap card onto our field, and it will pass on that. And like I said with the first replay, ending on no monsters makes it where the additional effect that a lot of skills have that makes you want to go second cannot activate because you don't have a monster on field, which is pretty nice. So pass to him. During the draw phase, we'll activate the field, the trap card, reveal the Baron, and then add the Princess to hand here. So now he'll start doing his Chimera play. So he reveals Gazelle, adds a Chimera Fusion to hand here, and then dumps a Nightmare Magician. Go ahead and do Crimson Gaia. Crimson Gaia, go ahead and search for a Vision Resonator here. Like I said, how I play, I like to play going first. Very conservative. If you're going to OTK me, that's when I'll start doing my interactions. But if you're not going to OTK me, I'm just not going to do anything, right? I'm going to play a lot conservative, forcing you to play into my field, right? So he goes to Gazelle. Gazelle effect to go ahead and search for Baphomet. Go into a Cornfield Coddle. Coddle effect to go ahead and search for Baphomet. And then go ahead, go in Chimera Fusion. So that's 2 Baphomets in hand now, if I'm not mistaken. Goes into a this dude, the Chimera King of Phantom Beast. Goes Gazelle Chainlink 1. Baphomet Chainlink 2, and then he has this. I guess this was Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3. That's how the chain went. But again, not really going to negate anything. Summons out Nightmare Magician, gets a Master Tau to hand, and then Chimera Fusion adds itself back to hand as well. And he gets to rip a card out of my hand during the end phase. Sets a couple, or well, goes into a synchro play of Stellar Wind Wolfayette. Very interesting. So he goes into a Fiendish Golem here off of the search of Vision Resonator, if I'm not mistaken. But he goes to battle phase. I'm like, he attacks for 28. I'm like, yeah, I'll take that. You're not killing me. I don't really give a fuck. During the end phase, though, when he proceeds to end phase, now I'll do the trap effect, discarding the Calling, banishing the Shade Peacock and the Automa, and go into Baroness. And then we'll go Baroness effect to bounce back the back row, because that's what I'm more scared of. So I want to make sure I never have to play through that during my turn. So we'll go Baroness, bounce back or shuffle back all 3, and then special summon a Nikitama from deck get Wolfayette to a bigger attack. End phase mandatory effect of Baroness to add itself back to hand here, and then again we'll get more attack on Wolfayette. And then we'll go, still in end phase field spell, add back Calling since a Wind Monster was returned. He goes Chimera effect, he discards the Baron, which is very unfortunate because in this game I didn't have 2 Barons, so my only Baron is now out. But we're still fine. We can still pretty much play through this. We draw a Book of Eclipse for turn. We go Shade Peacock Chainlink 1 during the standby phase. Chain Droplet Chainlink 2, sending the Nikitama to negate the Wolfayette, so I just don't have to worry about it this turn. And then we'll summon back the Shade Peacock. Nikitama effect will now draw a card as well. We'll go Field Spell effect, trimming both tokens out into a Baroness. Another Baroness. Like I said, I didn't have 2 Baron at the time, so we go 2 Baroness, which is perfectly fine with me. I go into a normal summon of Crane, or overlay into an Abyss Dweller, which does matter in this matchup, because once this card's in graveyard, you can start reboarding guys, so I just didn't want to worry about that. So we go Dweller effect to make sure I don't have to worry about graveyard effects. We go Calling, we go ahead and summon out another Peacock here. So now we normal summon a Yaksha, go into a battle phase. This is lethal, so we attack into the Chimera, and then go or the Baroness attack into the Lafayette, and then we'll do 25, and then 17 for direct lethal there. So like I said, how I like to play going first is you just play a little conservative, make them play into your field, and then once they're threatening an OTK, cool, now I'll start doing my interaction pieces there. So that is it for the video. I hope you guys did enjoy the video. If you did, leave a like, subscribe for more content on the channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.